Hey everyone, my name is Jen and welcome to the book Refuge and welcome to another sassy tea chat with me, sassy tea time, whatever I'm calling this, I don't even know. But it's been a little while since I do these. I like to kind of wait until some things have built up, some things have happened, because I don't do a lot of ranting on this channel. We talk about that. I try to keep things pretty positive, and I'm not saying this will be a negative, but I did ask you guys to kind of rile me up a little bit, maybe ask me some controversial questions or ask me things you really want to know. You know I'm totally willing to be honest about everything, and so I have peeked at a couple of the questions, and this is going to be really interesting. So I put up a post both on my Instagram to ask, as well as my Facebook, not my Facebook, I don't have a Facebook, on my YouTube community page, asking people to ask me questions. So some of these might overlap. I'm not going to edit. We're just going to go through every question because I think there's about 20 of them. So first we're going to start with the Instagram, and we're going to just go and we'll see what happens. I don't really plan these ahead of time. I've just got my copy here. This is actually from, I haven't done a shout out for these in a while. This is actually from Literary Enchantments, who I used to be a rep for, but now I'm not, and I don't care. I still buy her stuff. But this one is I read dark romance. And I'm also wearing my I'd rather be reading dark romance shirt. This is from just an Etsy shop, which I can't remember. But I got some iced coffee and cream right there. I don't really drink tea in the summer, but let us dive into these, okay? So I have my Kindle Fire here, and so I have my Instagram ones pulled up. So we'll just start with these. So the first one is from Crystal, and she asked, why do people think dark romance is so bad? I don't get it. So Crystal, this is a great question. You know, this is a great question. And it's one that I think is individual to each person who has a hatred for it. But I also think it comes down to people want to think they're better than someone else. I mean, I straight up mean that. I think there's people that don't fully understand a dark romance. They've never read one that really meant something to them, or they're scared to read one. I understand that. That's why we make videos that are dark romance for beginner or whatever. But I'll tell you, like, I didn't start easy with dark romance. Twist Me was one of my very first dark romances, and that's one of the darker ones that you could go. And I was shocked by it, and I was scared, and I was a little judgy of people who'd read it. But the more of them that I read, I realized there's such great potential for deep emotion. It's why I love romance at all. Like, I love things that make me feel things. Whatever subgenre of romance it is, whether it's a romantic suspense, a fantasy romance, erotica, whatever it is, erotic romance, I want to feel something. And I think in dark romance, there's just a propensity for me to feel more than with any other thing, because the more someone has gone through and they're still able to love, that's so powerful to me. I will probably go on a lot of rabbit trails based on these. So Crystal, I don't fully understand why people want to police what other people read. I also think it's funny to me that there are some kinds of dark romance that are more acceptable than others. There are some taboos that I don't enjoy reading them. I've probably tried pretty much everything at this point, and there's some that I myself are like, okay, that feels kind of icky. Like, I still need to be able to lose myself in a story. So some taboos, some dark tracks, like, I'm not able to lose myself in it, and that's generally when I'm like, okay, this one was too dark for me, or it didn't work because I'm not losing myself in what's going on. But people being judgy and saying, like, why it's so bad, people are going to say that about everything. Like, seriously, how many people tell us that romance is bad and that it's not realistic and it's not a thing? And I'd like to say, guess what? All fiction is unrealistic. That's why it's fucking fiction. So why, you know, like, every, like, fantasy and sci-fi, that's not realistic either. I don't know. I don't understand anyone, Crystal. I don't know. Could you tell me? Could you tell me? But that's my mini rant about that. And I can't spend 5 minutes on every one of these questions, but I don't know why people think it's so bad. I don't know why I'm one of only a handful that will talk about it openly here, you know? And thankfully that's growing. You know, I just put out a video a couple weeks back of small romance YouTubers, and a lot of them are talking about dark romance, you know? And that gets me really excited. In the same way that when I first found romance booktube and started finding more people reading romance, I really feel like dark romance has come along with that. And like that kind of leads into another question, so I'll skip around to that, because Jess from Peace Love Books, she asked me, what do I feel about book talk? And I think that actually plays in well with, I'm seeing more dark romance, I feel like, because of book talk. And yes, I think it can be frustrating that a new platform is finally sharing books that we've known about for years. But I try not to let myself get irritated, because I want those authors to be successful. Like some of my favorite, like I've loved Katie Robert for 3 years now. And the success she's getting because of book talk, because of people refinding the Wicked Villain series and finding her books. And I love that Neon Gods has just completely exploded. And she said it from herself. She's like, it's exactly in correlation how many more books she sold because of book talk. I think that I don't fully get book talk. You know, I have one. I have about 600 subscribers there right now. I don't feel the same interaction and love from that I do from my YouTube and Instagram. But then again, I haven't put that much energy into it. I'm kind of nervous of getting like banned from them if you know, on YouTube, I know where my parameters are, which don't really exist. I can say whatever I want on here, and I'm not worried about anything happening to me. And I just see so much, you know, TikTok is newer, and so they're really policing certain things. But again, I'm going on a ramble. Like, to your point, Jess, what I think it's good, because anything that gets more books bought and it gets more books sold for authors that I love, I am for it. Just because I don't fully understand it, or, I mean, it's not understand it. I mean, it's a way to do rapid fire book recommendations, you know? Like, there's nothing wrong with that. I tend to ramble a lot, and so making these videos where I only show like one sentence about the book and do that, and I feel like editing a video for book talk takes me just as long as it does to film a 20-minute video for here, and then I throw in my pictures and upload and I'm done. It's not a great place to pour my energy into right now when I have a following here of almost 10,000 and I have a following there of 600, and the videos take me the same amount to make. For me personally, book talk isn't something I want to like pour a lot of energy into right now. But as for what I think of it, I think it's a good thing for the book community. Like, look at what we're seeing happen at our Barnes & Nobles. Like, my Barnes & Noble, I was able to buy this because book talk made this series, which has been around a long time. The first time I read this book was 3.5 years ago. And then I've come back to the series at different points in time. I was able to buy this at my Barnes & Noble. That is fucking amazing. Scarlett, St. Clair's books are there. Katie Roberts' books are there even more. So as for what I think of it, I think it's a good thing. I don't know that I will ever fully commit to it to make something more happen with mine, but I'm happy for the book talkers who get success there, even if, you know, we all get a little bit envious sometimes when like all of a sudden publishers are jumping on book talk and sending books to people when it's like, hey, I've been building my Booktube for 3 years and I'm not getting that kind of love. Like, yeah, we all get a little jealous, but for me, my main purpose of being in the biz at all is to get great recommendations and give great recommendations and maybe make a little money on the side to support my addiction. So overall, I think it's a great thing. Avery asked me, your opinion on illustrated romance covers. Now, I watched Avery's TikTok on illustrated covers the other day. I mean, I'm not a fan of them. Because I feel like publishers think they're safe to put an illustrated cover on. I like them for when they can help diversify a cover. When they have curvy characters on the front of it. Like, I think of Spoiler Alert and the next one coming out in that series as I love those covers. I love that big, gorgeous woman on the cover of it. I love the racial diversity that I see on those covers, but I'm sick of the trend. Like, I would rather they just do kind of like, let's see if I don't have one by me, but I would literally rather they had like 50 Shades of Grey covers than the animated covers, because to me that tells me, I've been burned so many times by animated covers. If you don't want to put people on your cover, do a cover like Neon Gods. And I saw a interview with Katie where she was like, I told them not to give me an animated cover even if they didn't want to put people on it, right? Because as someone who likes spicy romance, I can't trust the cover of that book, okay? Because I think of Tessa Bailey, her Hot and Hammered series. Those are spicy books. They are spicy books. And they have an animated cover. And then I think of like the Well Matched books by Jenn that also have an animated cover. And those books weren't that spicy. And in fact, I was bored with it. You can't delineate from either one what's really going on. So I'm not a fan of them. I hope that trend goes away sooner. If you're having trouble finding the models you need, how about you put out casting calls for them? You know, how about you really go for it? Like, I know, is it Nana who is on her? Is it Nana Malone or Naima Simone? I'm not sure who it is, but she was on like her own book covers because she wanted the right model on the cover for books, so she's on them. And I know not every author can do that, and not every author has the control to do that. But I'm just not a fan of them. I'm just not a fan. Here we go. LJ Shen, if you know anything about her controversies. So what I know about LJ Shen only comes from other friends, and this isn't like to call out, but I really only know about it based on some of my other fellow booktubers who shared experiences with her and how they were like blacklisted from her ARC teams because they didn't give 5-star reviews. And I know that she has sent her army after people to bully them for certain reasons. That's really the extent that I know, because I'll tell you, and this will lead into a question I'm gonna get to in just a second. I don't really pay attention to that stuff too much because I'm all about finding a good book. So unless I hear from one of my friends who's close to me who says like, this is something this author personally did to me that snubbed me, well then my defenses go up, because don't you mess with my girls. Like, don't you mess with my girls. I will not read your books. The same thing with, I can't even remember her name, Seven Rue, who fucked with my girl More to Mary, with Mary McFarlane, and just straight up lied and was was leaving bad reviews for other people. Like, it kind of mixes with the thing that, like, I've never really loved an LJ Shen book, so it wasn't a sacrifice, it wasn't a sacrifice for me to stop reading her. Yeah, her ads are everywhere. Her books are everywhere, and they look cool. But even my best friend, who really likes LJ Shen, she has fallen out of love with her books, and she was really the only person encouraging me to read LJ Shen, and then when stuff happened with that, I was just like, well, I wasn't that encouraged to read her stuff before, and when you have directly been rude or cruel or disrespectful to someone I care about, I don't have time for you. Like, that's kind of how I am. I was like, bitch, I got millions of other books I can read. I'm not going to read your books or send my viewers to your books if you are a shitty person. That's just how it is. So, yeah. So, Mackie said, are you always honest when it comes to a book you wouldn't normally like or love, but it's by an author friend? That's a great question. So, I have a twofold answer to this. Number one, I never lie in my reviews. I just don't. I don't embellish. I don't lie about stuff. I will use nicer language, and maybe be gentler when it's someone that, number one, I know they're going to read my review because they sent the book to me and they care. But also, all of my friends who are authors, which it's not like I have a huge plethora, guys. I know I talk about Sophie and Juliet and Maggie Cole, but besides Juliet, who I met through Jesson, and we started talking, you know, I hadn't read any of her books before I started talking to her. How do I like break this down? Maggie Cole and Sophie Lark, I found organically through recommendation. Maggie Cole, I was reached out to read her books. So that relationship with those authors is predicated on the fact that I give honest reviews. Because these authors, they don't want me to give fake reviews and like lie about their stuff. Because a genuine fan of your books is going to send more people to you. And I firmly believe that if you write a good product, people are going to read your stuff. I mean, if you're reaching out to people to review your stuff and they genuinely enjoy it, that's great. If they don't, you don't pressure them. Like, you move along. You know, authors are used to rejection just the same way that so many things are. If I don't like a book, if it's not a 5-star, I will maybe hold off posting my review till later. That is something you can do if you're a reviewer. It's not being dishonest. It's just giving them a chance to have all the 5-star reviews come in, so that if you have a 4 or a 3-star book, I'm still going to share my review and I'm still going to be honest about it, but I don't have to like crow it out and be like, oh my God, I didn't like this one. Because that's happened. Like, there's books in the Mafia War series that are not my favorite ones. Then there's some of them that are my favorite books I've ever read. So for me, it like balances out. Before I'd ever spoken to Sophie, I read like 5 of the books before we were ever in contact. And Sophie reads every review, okay? So one of her books, I literally just put, I was bored, I did not enjoy this, was my review. And she commented on it and she was like, yeah, this isn't my best work. And I died, guys. Like, I was like, oh my God. Because that's the thing, like, once you start to have a bigger voice, which I hate saying that because I feel really pretentious when I say it, you will find that you want to be as respectful as you can. But I never lie. I will never lie. It doesn't matter if I'm my bestest friend or not. Now, when they message me and ask me if I liked it or not, I might not say I hated this. Like, I wouldn't say that. But in a review, I would still be honest with you guys, because I exist to give you my honest opinions on books. And if for any reason you started to not trust me because, oh, you gave Juliet a pass, or oh, you read Sophie's book, but like, this was really bad, I can't believe your reviews. Well, then any power that I have to encourage you to read their books is gone anyway. So no, I wouldn't give a pass to a friend. Just being a little bit cheeky, most of my author friends that I'm like friends with them, they write really good books, so I'm not worried about it. Sorry to say, like, I don't know how else to say that. But there definitely are like very small authors who have reached out to me, and I can see the promise in their stories, but I'm still honest, and I'll be like, I really like you, I like what you're doing, but I still have to say, like, this was a 4-star read for me, and I can't wait to see what you do next. So I think part of that comes with, as you guys know, is I'm a very positive person and I'm a positive reviewer. And so even when I don't like something, like, unless it reached rage level, which you guys have seen that happen with me before, unless it reaches rage level, I don't really say anything bad about a book anyway. Like, I've given a Pam Godwin book a 2-star review, guys. Like, you know that. So anyway, this one turned into a thing. But no, I would not give a pass to the book. There's even some of Juliet's books where, like, yeah, I'm probably not going to read that one. Some of her older books, I'm like, I don't think so. And she'll be like, yeah, that wasn't my best work. Because the authors know. Like, they know which ones are the best work they've ever done and which ones aren't, you know? Like, they know. Oops. See, I talked too long. It turned off. And then Mackie also asked, has there ever been an author that was extremely rude to you, but now kisses your ass because of your successful channel? No. I can honestly say not. I have never had an author be rude to me. There was a couple inquiries I made to have authors on my channel. That's a new thing, right? Like I've had who's been on my channel? Sarah McLean was for book club. Juliet's been on my channel a few times. I've had Sophie Lark, and we will have Maggie Cole. I've also had Harriet, and I've had a couple others for Pharaoh Feb. There have been some that I won't name who they're super busy, and they don't necessarily know who I am. Like, just because I have 10,000 viewers on my channel, or almost, I should stop saying 10,000. We're getting there. That doesn't make me famous. Like, it doesn't make me famous. And it doesn't mean someone has to make time for me. And also, I don't reach out to a lot of authors. Like, a lot of times I'm surprised that people know who I am. Like, there's some authors that, because I share their stuff a lot, like, they know who I am. Like, Serena Ackroyd, she sent me a book to thank me for talking about her book so much. And when I comment on her stuff, sometimes she'll be like, oh, I'm so glad you liked it. But think of how many people those authors have reaching out to them. Like, I don't stand out as some crazy amazing thing to people, but I haven't had anyone be rude to me and then be nice to me. And I haven't really had anyone be rude to me. I've had some people not respond, is basically the easiest thing to say. I've had some people not respond, but for the most part, I've had overwhelmingly positive from everyone, and some pretty big people too. So okay, here's another one. Bookish SJM something said, authors behaving badly, would you still read them? Okay, so this is what I wanted to say with the LJ Shen one. So there's two different categories for me, and this might be the most controversial thing that I'm going to say on here, but it's very important to me to say, and those who are my closest friends know how I feel, and I know that a lot of you feel the same way because we've talked about it before, but I need a sip of coffee for this. To me, there are two different categories of authors behaving badly. One of them causes me not to read them anymore. One of them can sometimes cause me to dig in deep and read even more of their books, okay? The first one is the LJ Shen situation, where they have been rude to a creator friend of mine or a reviewer of mine, or I hear about some shady behavior behind the scenes, you know, sending mobs after people, doxing people, blacklisting people because they don't love their books. I don't like that shit. And if I hear about it, I generally won't read their books unless there's like a super good reason for it, okay? Like, or I'm doing it for whatever. But like Seven Rue, I already wasn't really liking her. And then I heard about all the stuff that she was doing, and I was like, okay, now I'm not even gonna try anymore. LJ Shen, I still get recommended her books sometimes. I won't read them, guys. Like, I won't. I've read 5 of her books in the past, okay? Only one of them was more than a 4-star for me. I just don't vibe with her. I just don't. And then after the stuff I heard of how she was being rude and mean, and guess what? She's famous enough. Enough people are reading her books. She's making bank. My opinion doesn't matter too much, but I'm not going to read them. And there's some others that I like can't remember right now because we're on the spot. But that's one category, okay? Now the other category has to do with cancel culture, okay? I will not read an author because of something they say on Twitter or something that pisses people off, okay? Because I believe in a free country, and I believe in you are free to say whatever you want. People can not like it. People can think that you're racist or homophobic or an asshole. That does not give them, like, that does not mean that you should be canceled. You can choose not to like that person when they say something. Like, let's say they say something and you're like, wow, that was way out of line. You can choose that you don't want to read their books anymore. Just like I can choose I don't want to read LJ Shen because of something she's done. But I will not be made fearful to read someone's books because someone will say, well, you're supporting that person, so now we're going to cancel you. Okay, do it. Do it. Do it. Because I'm not going to cast aside an author who is a human, who has opinions, and it's a free country, okay? I will read their books. Specifically, one for me was Daniel Laurie. When I heard that she was getting shade because of something she shared, I bought all her books. I bought all of them. because I'm sick of cancel culture for no good reason and ruining people's lives, okay? I'm sick of it, okay? And I know I'm not the only one, and I'm not going to call out any other people because I know what I'm taking on by saying that. I'm fucking sick of it. I want to read romance and have a good time with you guys, and all of that shit, all that garbage can stay off my page. It can stay away, okay? I have my own personal feelings about things that people say that may not be the same as what you feel or individuals you feel. That's none of y'all's fucking business. It's nobody's business. And the groups that I choose to support and the place that I put my money for charities and the ways that I'm living my life to support the things that I believe, they're nobody's business. They don't belong here on Booktube. Here, I want to talk about books. And I want to read them. And I want to read dirty, spicy little things. Because if you want to police what someone's allowed to say somewhere, well, then you probably want to police which kinks I'm not allowed to read. And you probably want to police, you know, there's so many things people want to police. And I don't fucking care. I'm here to read romance. I'm here to escape all of that shit. And if you want to come into my space and tell me what I have to support, no. Because I'm a varied individual. I don't fit into one lane of stuff. Like, there's things on every side of the aisle that I support and don't support. And that's an individual thing. It's individual to me, and it's individual to each issue, okay? There are some things that affect me because of personal reasons that no one will ever know. And so, yeah, it is risky for an author to voice their opinion now because people want to find that shit and tear you up, okay? But I'm not going to be fearful. I'm going to read what I want to read, okay? I'm going to read what I want to read because everything I have from YouTube is just a plus. You know, having the community of you that I have, it's a plus. And I'm not going to let the outside world encroach on it. Like, I'm going to read my nasty, dirty romance, and I'm going to have a good time with my friends. And I'm going to be supportive of people when they're going through things, and I'm going to love on them, and I'm going to cast my support where I want to, but I'm not going to be told what I'm allowed to support and what I'm not. And I'll put my money where my mouth is. So there you go. That was a big rant, and that was really scary to say. I'm like shaking right now. I'm shaking right now. But I just won't be bullied into any of it. Like, good fucking luck. Good fucking luck. All right? Okay. Let's go back to some happy stuff. Okay, so that's all the Instagram questions. How do you feel about the pregnancy trope? Well, I don't mind it. I don't like a secret pregnancy. I don't mind surprise pregnancy. I don't mind pregnancy in a married couple or a couple or whatever. I don't like secret pregnancies where the woman gets to keep it a secret and doesn't tell the man for any significant amount of time. Like, unless, with a caveat, it's mafia. Because bitch can hide her baby from a psychotic madman. It probably won't work, honey, but you can do it. So that's how I feel about that. How did you discover and fall in love with taboo romance, and where do you find new ones? Well, I kind of just stumbled upon it. I mean, I definitely first found it from Kindle Unlimited. When I first got Kindle Unlimited, you know, it just feels like a wide open lane when you can just read anything, right? And I stumbled across Twist Me. Was one of the first really taboo books that I remember that has a captor-captive age gap. There is lots of non-consensual stuff in there, and it was quite just like blew my mind. Like, it just blew my mind open. Yeah, it was pretty crazy. And then where do I find new ones? I mean, the same, like, definitely TikTok lately. Definitely recommendations from you guys, from Instagram. Sometimes I straight up just type in the trope that I'm liking. You know, like, I just made that video that was the choking recommendations. I typed in breath play and a bunch of them come up. And then I'll read a book and it'll just have something new. Like, I didn't know the breeding kink was what it was called, which I guess that it is. What's one that I really like? I can't think of one right now, but I'll just read a book that I'm not specifically reading it for that kink or something or taboo, and then it'll have a thing in it, and I'm like, oh, so one that's recent, like a piercing, like a body modification kink that happens in Her Soul to Take, where the hero, he actually pierces her nipples while she's riding a dildo. Don't tell me how that would work, but it was so hot. And I've read that before in Feral King by Sawyer Beckett, I think who it's by, and I was like, wow, I don't even know how to look up this kink, but I like it a lot. So that's how stuff will happen. I'll just be reading it and I'll be like, whoa, okay, I like this a lot. Another one is like, this one sometimes happens in like a master slave dynamic or a really intense DNS one, is like feeding the person. That happens in Carnal Urges, where he's trying to show her how he cares about her, and so he has her kneel on a pillow beside him and he feeds her, and she's being really like, oh, why are you doing this? And he's like, I'm trying to show you how I serve you, but you're so caught up in your head that you're only looking at certain aspects, you're not looking at the whole. And I was like, oh, I love it. So I like that stuff. Chelsea Knowles said, what do you think towards negative reviews, especially to indie authors? Also negative reviews on ARCs when the book won't be released for weeks or months. Okay, so I kind of touched on this earlier when I talked about like my friends. So, okay, I don't believe in rating a book that you haven't read the ARC for. So there are some authors where like they'll have the next book going to be coming out in their series, and people will start rating it a 1 star because it's taking too long for the author to put out their book. I just think that's so petty and gross. Like, you don't know what's happening in an author's life. You don't know what's going on. Or when a book, someone will rate it and they're like, this is shitty. I can't believe this author, whatever. Like, that will happen. Like I said, if someone hears about an author doing something bad without even reading their books, they just go and start rating their books as like 1 stars. And I'm just like, why? Like, you're just really being a petty bitch for no reason. Because, okay, anyone who actually cares, like when they're looking through reviews, they're gonna see that a bunch of people rate it 1 star for no reason. You know, I don't know, I noticed that shit. But having a negative review if you read an ARC, I mean, I've done that. Like I've just said too, I will not lie about stuff. If it's one that the book, this is, let's say it's this person's first book, as I said, if I have maybe a 3-star review for it, maybe I'll wait until after release week to post my review so that I don't tank their percentage. Because I'm not out to ruin any authors or anything, but I'm also not going to lie about it. So that's kind of how I feel about it. I think that it is really shitty to rate a book that you haven't read. I don't think that before a book is like released, you know, before ARCs are available, let's say, because people who read the ARCs need to be able to rate it. But like Amazon, you can't rate the book before it is out. I think that's a great thing. I understand why on Goodreads you need to be able to, but if maybe it only was available to rate it once the ARC is out, would be nice. So, I don't know. Wow, here we go. Here's someone being brave. Here's someone being brave. Hold on. So Ginger Lane said, I hear that there are some booktubers out there who don't actually read the books they are reviewing. They just posting outrage content or negative reviews for the content and the likes. Have you heard this, and what do you think about it? I get that YouTube can be a business, but at what point does this community lose its integrity, or is it already gone if people are doing this? Whoa. I mean, I don't know of any of my friends who do that. I'm sure some people do. I mean, I think it's bad. I don't have too much to say. I think I've kind of been mentioning about that. I don't really get the outrage content. Like, and you know, I have ranted about things. Usually the things I've ranted about have been either classic books or TV shows. I don't usually rant about a book more than my weekly reviews. So, I mean, at the end of the day, people are getting paid for it, and so they're gonna do some stuff that is frustrating. You know, there's going to be people who read a romance book as a joke and then totally tank it, and they get thousands upon thousands, even hundreds of thousands of views for doing that. And there's just nothing that you can do. Like, there's no way to stop that. And I think the integrity of a community is based on what you think it is. Okay? Part of my rant about the cancel culture, which isn't specific to Booktube, like, we know that. That is a thing that exists throughout society right now. I can't wait until it's gone. I can't wait until it's gone. But while it's here, we just have to, you know, have people in your life that you trust, and not always share our opinions openly, which is horrible because we live in one of, you know, the freest places in the world. And I don't ever want to, like, abuse my right to have a free opinion, but I'm also never going to be, like, quiet about something. I don't know. This video is getting very introspective. Like, this could really blow back on me, but whatever. We're doing what we're doing. We're doing what we're doing. What's happening on my computer? Okay. Megan M. Which trope would you most reasonably want to see play out for yourself in real life? No kidnapping or mobsters, I'm guessing. In my real life, probably a friends to lovers. I mean, that's what I foresee being the happiest and most fulfilling relationship for myself. Because most of the people that I've been enemies with in my life, I don't want to fuck them. But I have some friends that I would definitely fuck them if they wanted to. So maybe a friends with benefits to friends with lovers situation. How do you feel about the oversaturation of a specific trope or subgenre every year? First it was billionaires, then enemies to lovers, then bully romance, and now it's reverse harem. And sometimes it's not stated in the synopsis, but it's used for shock value. I mean, what do I think about it? I think that's just how the market works. You know, like authors, specifically authors who write trend-based, because that's what's making them money. Like, no shame to that. At least they're writing a book. I couldn't write a book to save my life. That's how they stay on top of it, you know? I also think that when people are reading, like, I know with my reading patterns, like, what are my favorite books to read? Mafia. Am I happy that Mafia is still popular and the books are coming out all the time? Yes. Yes, I am. I'm very pleased with it. So I think it's only annoying if it's not a tropey like, you know, like I don't love reverse harem, and yeah, on TikTok, that's literally all the recommendations right now, and I don't care about reverse harems. So it's annoying. But there's still a million other books available that if I just Google a different one, that they'll come up, you know. Like it only feels like that is what the books are because that's what gets advertised to us based on what everyone likes. If you just do a little digging, if you dive a little deeper, like you'll find it. Like, you'll find it, you know? Your journey getting into romance and then dark romance. So this is a thing that I've shared before. So just a quick overlap. Like, I've been reading romance since I was probably younger than 14, but 14 is when I specifically started reading historical romance. I started reading Catherine Coulter, Julia Quinn, Julia London I read back then. And yeah, I really started with that. I read YA romance a lot. You know, I read Sarah Dessen and Megan, what's her last name? I can't remember the author's last name, but I read a lot of that all the time. And my mom was always reading romance, so it kind of just happened. And then yeah, dark romance happened more in the recent years. I would still read one or two here or there, but it was probably like 2 years ago that I really started reading dark romance. And like I said, on Kindle Unlimited, I just stumbled across one that was recommended to me, and it was a kidnapping one, and then I was done for. I was like, oh, here we go. Just one more question here. Wow, okay. I feel like this was a ride. This video was a lot. Maybe more open than you ever expected me to be about some stuff. But this question was, are there any dark romance, kink, or guilty pleasure you want to try in real life? Well, disclaimer, I don't want anyone to kidnap me to try anything to me. Of the things that I've read, I feel like I would like spanking. I would definitely like some dirty talk. I would like blindfolding. And I would definitely like some certain DNS situations. That's what I know, having not experimented with them yet. So that's just a guess. That's a guess. Those are the tried and true things for me that if they're in a book, I absolutely love them. And we go from there. So, okay. Well, if you're still with me and you still love me, make sure you give me a thumbs up. I'm sure this video will get a lot of thumbs down because I think some people are seeing a side of me that they weren't necessarily expecting. But that's okay. I'm here to be honest with you guys and about some things that, I mean, this was tea time with Jen. Like, there are some things that have been frustrating me. And they're things that I feel like we just have to ride it out. It's why I don't talk about a lot of that stuff on my channel. Like, you guys are here for the books. That's why I'm here. That's what this relationship is about for me. And so when those other things start to leak into the community, and I'm not saying they're unimportant, so don't anyone take that as me not meaning it. All of those things are important. I just don't want them in my book community. And I understand what other people do. And again, I support the other people that do, but that won't be what's happening here. Okay, I want this to be a safe space to talk about books. There's no kink shaming. There's no view shaming. Whatever your religion or orientation or political view or any of that, it doesn't matter to me. I just want you to get good book recommendations and give me good book recommendations. That's what I want. I don't care about any of that other stuff. And anyone who wants to take this and misconstrue it in a different way, well, that's on you. That's not on me, because I know the type of person that I am and I know how I feel about things. And my feeling is only to be loving and accepting of everything. I just don't need to talk about the real world. The books are what keep me mentally healthy and keep me happy and on track. And when that other stuff gets pulled in, it feels like a black hole is sucking me in. And I can't. Like, if that ever completely takes over the community, I would have to step back. And I don't think anyone wants that. So, okay. Thank you so much for watching this if you made it to the end. This isn't my normal content, but I do like to do a tea chat now and then and just get some stuff off my chest. And it worked. Make sure you subscribe to the channel if you like book recommendations. I read a lot of dark romance, historical romance, and all the other fun stuff. So, thank you so much for watching this, and I'll see you next time. Bye.